Girlfriend Friend 2. Royally Screwed. Why are you in my house? Rarity sighed dreamily, and put the latest reply from her sweet special sun pony into the drawer with all the others. She really needed to tell her friends about her relationship soon if last week's events were anything to go by. But for now, the thrill of the little secret romance that she had with a princess did put a little bounce in her step. She'd write back at the end of the day when she had finished with some commissions for a couple of high-profile customers. Though she adored the love letters that she and Celestia sent back and forth, Rarity was a little worried that the increase of orders was because of the princess's direct meddling. Not that Rarity wouldn't appreciate it, she simply liked to be known for her own accomplishments and not for who she was attached to. These thoughts and others gently swirled through her head as she worked throughout the day. It was a familiar type of flow, and hours seemed to pass in the blink of an eye. She didn't even notice it was getting dark until there was a ringing at her doorbell.
Oh, goodness.
Rarity mumbled, glancing at the clock that was late past closing time.
I'm sorry,
she called to whoever was at the door.
but we aren't open at the moment. Come back tomorrow.
There was a silence for a moment, and Rarity assumed that they had taken her advice and left, before another ring sounded out.
Oh, for Pony's sake.
Rarity muttered, putting down her sewing equipment and heading for the door.
If this is one of the girls, then they should know when I say closed.
She flung open the door and her complaints immediately died on her tongue, and a blush rose to color her previously white face.
Celestia! What are you doing here? Not that I'm unhappy to see you, but...
Celestia smiled awkwardly as Rarity trailed off.
Yes, I know that this is... unexpected, but there is something that it seems that I need to talk to you about. Oh, yes, of course.
Rarity flung the door open wider to allow the princess to come in, and immediately gestured her to a couch.
So, what is it that you, what is it you would like to talk about, dear?
Celestia did not sit down.
Well, there seems to be a bit of confusion. Though I wouldn't really call it confusion, so more as deliberate misleading.
Rarity could feel all the blood draining out of her face as she remembered her own bit of confusion just last week. Was the princess here to tell Rarity that the two were not dating? That somehow the months of beautifully crafted ballads that would make a classic poet cry were not filled with wonder and affection? And shameless, crass, one-word compliments through the mail were somehow not supposed to have romantic undertones? How? Celestia pulled out a letter. Rarity's letter.
You see, I found this most curious thing in Luna's room. Sister, why dost thou hate me so?
A blinding flash filled the room, causing Rarity to blink spots out of her eyes for a few seconds. When she could finally see again, what she did see was Princess Luna, now also in her living room, climbing over Celestia in a desperate attempt to grab the floating letter.
Why must you ruin everything?
Luna cried as Celestia maneuvered the scroll out of her reach once again.
We had a good thing going! Take mercy on your little sister! Luna?
Celestia said with irritated patience of an older sister that Rarity had used quite a few times herself.
You can't keep lying to her. You need to come clean. No!
Luna whined, but stopped her struggling and instead proceeded to fall dramatically onto the floor in crushing defeat.
But I don't want to!
Celestia patted her gently on the top of her head as Luna groaned into the carpet. Rarity squeaked more than said as she watched the scene.
Would one of you please like to tell me what I've been lied to about? Or just whatever is going on here?
Celestia sighed, regally. Princessly, not romantically.
I recently discovered that you have been sending me love letters for an indistinguishable amount of time.
Rarity was gonna die. She was gonna drop dead right here in her living room from embarrassment and hypocrisy. And then all of her friends would laugh at her. Laugh at her sad corpse.
And worst of all,
Celestia continued, ignorance of Rarity trying to figure out the most proper way to fall to the ground and die.
It seems some pony has been writing you back, using my name.
At this, Princess Luna sprung from where she lay and flung herself at Rarity's hooves.
You must forgive me! I didn't know how else to show my affections to you! I intercepted a letter from my sister once and wrote back with all my feelings on the page, and, well, the rest is history.
She rose to her hooves, but it was only to fall into a deep and well-executed bow.
I have loved you for a very long time, ever since that first nightmare night that I came to Ponyville. Wait, hold on. The nightmare night that I was out of town for? But I knew that you would have rejected me if I just bore my heart to you.
Luna continued as if Rarity had not interrupted.
I was only planning on masquerading as my sister for a few letters, I swear. But you seemed to grow so attached to her so fast that my jealousy blinded me.
She sank to her knees and threw her hooves into the air.
Oh, heaven curse us! This is just as it was with Nightmare Moon.
Celestia just rolled her eyes.
Lulu, you are always so dramatic. Wait.
Rarity said, waving her hooves to gain the two princesses' attention.
So, Luna has been the one writing to me this whole time? But I talked to you, Celestia, in person, about her letters.
Celestia tilted her head to the side.
You did? When was this? Last gala?
Rarity insisted, a desperate edge to her voice as she tried to cling to some form of sanity.
Last gala, I went up to you and asked if you meant what you said in the letters, and if we were special sun ponies now, and you said yes. Oh.
Celestia said, squinting, as if to think very hard about perhaps the most treasured date in Rarity's life.
Yes, I may have said that. Truthfully, when I'm at galas, I usually say whatever I think will get ponies to stop talking to me the quickest, and to be honest, I don't even remember attending the last gala. That's how deep I was, daydreaming about leaving.
Rarity's whole body twitched. She was going to develop a permanent tic, she was sure, and so she simply collapsed onto her couch, one hoof lifted to her forehead in exhaustion.
So, it's actually been Luna writing to me this whole time. Luna's the one who wrote that letter the day after, detailing how she couldn't stop looking at my flanks the entire night. What?
Luna asked, picking herself up off the floor with a curious expression.
A letter that said, what? Please, my dear muse, I would never write something so blunt. You inspire me to construct poetry like a particularly bright star in my night. Who would write something so shallow?
She sniffed in indignation and turned away.
Besides, I did not attend the gala either. So, you didn't write me that letter?
Rarity asked slowly. Her horn lit up, and her light blue aura started rummaging around her private drawer until it caught a few scrolls and pulled them out.
This letter. Neither of you wrote it.
She shoved said letter in Luna's face and let the other hover around her head. Luna inspected all the scrolls carefully, and even Celestia bent close to take a look.
Some of these are mine,
Luna admitted, pulling those close.
Some of these are mine,
Luna admitted, pulling those close.
But the ones about how attractive you are, those are something I would never even pen. Well, that horn writing is amazingly close.
Celestia marveled.
Whoever wrote those ones, both you and her, Lulu, captured my penmanship perfectly. I noticed how skilled you are at sewing.
Luna read aloud.
If there weren't any witnesses, I'd love to see what else that horn— Never mind!
Rarity cried, snatching them all away in a flourish of magic.
If neither of you wrote them then neither of you get to read them either. But who wrote it?
Luna insisted, looking miffed.
Who would dare impersonate me, a princess, and lie to you, fair Rarity? If these letters are a reflection of their true feelings, then why would they hide themselves away?
Rarity and Celestia shared a look. Capital L in look.
Ignoring certain things,
Rarity said in a desperate attempt to move on.
The question of who else would impersonate you two is a genuine one. They must be very confident in themselves, too.
She then trailed off as a tall shadow fell upon her, and hot breath tickled her fur. It was me, came a silky purr in Rarity's ear. Before she could do more than shiver, something gently wrapped around Rarity's barrel and lifted her into a close hug a few body lengths in the air. I am also, Discord whispered, his hot breath against Rarity's face, and making the unicorn freeze in absolute confusion and terror. So deeply in love with you. Rarity let out a high-pitched whine, a scream caught somewhere down in her throat.
Are you serious?
There was a beat of silence as little pink hearts floated around Discord's head as he gazed at her in his arms.
Oh, Harmony's sake, that love-stricken gaze.
But then his face cracked, and a snort escaped his lips.
Ta! No!
Discord crowed, dropping Rarity so he could better roll onto his back in midair and clutch at his stomach.
But you should have seen your face. Oh my, that was rich.
Rarity glared at him from the floor where she had so rudely been dumped on her rump.
Well, glad to see someone is finding the situation amusing.
She spat. Oh, and I certainly do, Discord said as he cackled, whipping a tear from his eye. After I learned what happened last time with all of your friends, I was so disappointed that I couldn't join in on all the fun. I wasn't going to pass up an opportunity like this again. He chuckled to himself for a few more moments as the ponies glared. Once he had caught his breath, he let out a contented sigh and patted Rarity on the head, messing up her mane completely. Well, this was fun, Miss Rarity, but you did make Fluttershy sad by not being her girlfriend, so I'm going to have to kill you now. She almost tripped as she tried to stand back up.
What? I beg your pardon?
Luna's horn glowed dangerously as she surged forwards.
Dare not touch her, you fiend!
I'm kidding! Discord smacked Rarity playfully on the back, sending her sprawling onto her face again, and held up his paw to keep the furious princess back. Kidding! I'm kidding! I'm such a kidder today! Or maybe not. Oh, yes I am! He laughed again and twisted in the air with glee. Oh, you all are simply much too easy. Helping Rarity to her hooves, Luna glared venomously at Discord, though she did power down her horn.
Your jokes have gone too far this time, Discord, impersonating royalty for a prank. Have you no sensitivity for anything?
In response, Discord blew a raspberry. First off, I'm royalty too, so it's fine. A beanie with a crown pattern sewn into it appeared on his head. The coolest king of chaos that there ever was. Luna and Rarity rolled their eyes in unison. Secondly, Discord continued, picking up one of the discarded letters and waving it in Luna's face. I would never write anything so simultaneously erotic, detailed, and sappy. I'm not even a pony. I don't even know what makes their butts sexy. He flicked the paper into Luna's face, but it still somehow ended up hitting Rarity in the snout. You, my dears, are looking for a fanatic of flirting.
Oh.
Celestia, who had been standing quietly in the background this whole time, suddenly spoke up.
I've been thinking, and I do know one pony whose behavior, let's say, matches those letters and what Discord said to a T.
Her horn glowed bright for a moment, and then with another blinding pop, Princess Cadence appeared, half a cookie stuffed in her mouth. She froze mid-step, staring at the four creatures staring back at her like a cornered animal. Then, after a few moments when she processed that she was in Rarity's house, and Rarity processed what her being there meant, Cadence sighed and took another bite of her cookie.
Darn it. I guess the jig is up, huh? You!
Rarity screeched as she pointed a shaking hoof at Cadence. She was completely past even the idea of decorum at this point. Only madness was left.
You've been sending me love letters too? But you're married!
Princess Miyamori Cadenza shrugged.
Well, I'm the Princess of Love, so I can love more than one pony at a time.
She eyed Rarity up and down for a moment before taking another bite and giving the unicorn a pointed look.
And you've got a really nice butt, so there's that.
See? Discord exclaims, gesturing to Cadence as if she had just made a compelling point. I told you! Someone who knows pony butts.
Please stop saying butts.
Rarity moaned as she brought both front hooves up to massage her temples. She was probably giving herself premature wrinkles with how aggressively she was rubbing her face.
So, I have been flirting. With all four of you.
Well, 3, probably.
3. Thank you, Discord.
She elected to ignore the second word.
All 3 of you for the past few months, yes? Is that what's been going on? Yeah.
Cadence confirmed.
I've been intercepting some of your letters to Auntie and... Wait. The 3 of us?
She turned to raise a brow at Luna, who in turn blushed furiously.
Who I choose to court is my own business, and not yours, niece.
Cadence wiggled her eyebrows at the Night Princess and smirked.
Wow, Auntie Luna, I didn't know that you were such a conniving type, pretending to be Celestia to get a mare. I'm honestly kind of impressed. Which means...
Rarity continued loudly, cutting off Luna from snapping back at the youngest alicorn.
Which means the pony that I thought I was dating doesn't actually exist. So, that's just great. I seriously don't know what to think or to feel anymore. 2 ponies are in love with me, and I don't even know either of them like I thought I did. Well, if it helps.
Celestia spoke up, tilting her head and inspecting Rarity.
We could try, you and me, for real. Maybe I should have been flirting back. To be fair, I haven't flirted with anyone in a good millennium.
Rarity was sure that she would stain her coat red from all of her blushing.
Oh, for Pony's sake. Are there any more members of royalty who want to just profess their love to me? Wait, I love you.
Every eye turned to the door that had just slammed open. King Thorax of the Changelings was standing in the entryway, staring back at the crowded dress shop with wide eyes.
I was looking for...
Rarity sighed and dropped her head.
Spike isn't here, Thorax. I would just suggest waiting at the castle if he isn't already there.
Thorax swallowed heavily and nodded.
Right. Sorry to bother, whatever it is that's going on here. I'm just gonna...
He slowly stumbled back out of the shop and closed the door behind him, leaving Rarity alone with her problems once more. Discord then sighed after a beat. Isn't true love such a beautiful rarity in this world? Rarity didn't even look up from the floor.
Screw all of you.
Cadence snorted.
Oh, promise.
Rarity didn't know that she could chuck 3 alicorns and a Draconiquus out the window all at the same time. You really do learn something new about yourself every day. I wonder if she could throw all 4 of those individuals just as good as she could throw it back. Okay, I'm gonna stop with that. Anyways, let's get on to our lovely donators. Top donators: Dash of Evergreen, Peter Coulthard, J Tinman, Darkside, and Ponyman. CourierCruz CI, Strix, Zar630, Narwhals, Delta Omega, RuneScythe9852, Dospo, Rhiny Dragonwolf, Hunter Norman, Austin Roland, Secret Moon, Tall Russia, The Toilet Snake, Sword Brother and Mordred, Cerberus, Goulash Eating Hazar, Ronin Wandering, Enderai63, Random Person Man Guy, Easy, Jack Cadge, Starlight Glimmer, Squiddy Boy, David E. Sanchez, Soul Dragon, Gaggy, Trey, Shadow Drake, Joe Piercy, Alex F., Rainbow Dash, Teal'c Anderson, TV Killer, John Becker, Leon Reynolds, Raven Speedster, Zach Rocal, Mr. ECU, Leslie Brickett, Edgar Garcia, One Kingdom 1, Nissa Rusan, Vizuri, Dyslexic Character Sheets, and Just a Random Boy. Thank you all very much for watching this video, and live life to the fullest.